Sailors were terrified of going mad, not drowning, not starving, going mad. Because months at sea did something to the mind that storms and sharks never could. A ship in open water could spend 2 or 3 months with no land in sight at all, nothing but water in every direction. And after enough weeks of that same endless horizon, men started to lose their grip on what was real. Captains had a name for it. They called it being sea-struck, when a sailor's eyes would go empty and he would stare out at the water for hours, not hearing his own name being called. Some men jumped overboard for no reason anyone could explain. Others swore they saw entire islands that were not there or heard voices calling to them from beneath the waves. The ocean did not need a storm to kill a man. Sometimes it just needed enough silence. So the first thing a ship had to fight was not the weather. It was time itself. And the way they fought it was with work, because idle hands on a ship were dangerous hands. Every single rope had a job, and every sail had to be checked, and the moment one task ended, another began. Sailors scrubbed the deck on their knees with stone and sand until the wood turned pale. They climbed rigging 100 feet into open air, with nothing below them but a drop into freezing water, just to adjust a single sail. One gust of wind at the wrong second, and a man was gone, swallowed by the sea before anyone could even turn the ship around to look for him. But work alone could not hold a crew together for months, so they built rituals instead, strange little ceremonies that gave shape to the endless stretch of identical days. When a ship crossed a certain invisible line in the ocean for the first time, sailors would hold a wild ceremony for any man crossing it for the first time, dunking him in seawater, smearing him in grease, and forcing him to bow to a sailor dressed up as a king of the sea. It looked absurd, and it was meant to. After enough days of the same gray water and the same gray sky, a crew needed something ridiculous to break the spell. Then there was the worst threat of all, one that crept in slowly and killed without warning. Scurvy. Months without fresh food meant a sailor's own body began falling apart from the inside. Gums turned soft and bled, teeth loosened and fell out one by one. Old wounds that had healed years earlier would split open again as if they were fresh. Men grew weak, confused, and many simply died, not from an enemy or a storm, but from the slow lack of something as small as a single piece of fruit. Entire crews were lost this way before anyone understood the cause. It took a painfully long time to realize the answer had been sitting on land the whole time, in ordinary citrus fruit that any child could pick off a tree. And once that secret got out, it changed everything. Ships began carrying barrels of lime juice on every voyage, and deaths from scurvy began to fall sharply. That single fix is actually where the word limey came from, a nickname for sailors who started drinking lime juice to survive the long stretches at sea. But staying alive on a ship also meant staying calm, and that was its own daily battle. Picture 50 men crammed into a space smaller than a house, breathing the same stale air, eating the same hard food, with no way to walk away and cool down when tempers flared. A single argument over food or a card game could explode into violence within seconds, so captains worked hard to keep men too busy to fight. Gambling was often banned outright. Songs were encouraged, loud ones, sung together while hauling rope, because a crew singing the same words at the same time had less room left in their heads for grudges. The songs themselves became a kind of survival tool. Sailors called them shanties, simple work songs sung in rhythm with the pulling of a rope or the turning of a wheel. One man would call out a line, and the rest of the crew would shout back the chorus again and again, until a job that felt impossible somehow felt lighter with a beat attached to it. The songs filled the silence, and the silence, more than any storm, was the real enemy out there. Storms, when they did come, brought their own special kind of terror. A ship caught in bad weather could trap an entire crew below deck for days, sealed in the dark, while water poured through every gap. There was nothing to do but hold on and wait, hoping the next wave was not the one that finally broke something important. When the storm passed and the sun reappeared, sailors would laugh too loud and too long, simply relieved to still be breathing. Food was its own quiet struggle, stretched across every single day. Fresh meat ran out within the first couple of weeks, leaving nothing behind but hard biscuit, salted meat, and whatever could be hooked over the side of the ship. The biscuit earned a grim nickname, hardtack, because it really was that hard, sometimes hard enough to crack a tooth if a man was not careful chewing it. Small insects burrowed into the flour no matter how tightly the barrels were sealed. and sailors joked darkly that the extra crunch was just free protein. Some men learned to tap their biscuit against the table before eating, just to knock anything loose out of it first. It sounds disgusting now, but after enough weeks at sea, it simply became normal life. Letters became another strange comfort during the wait. Sailors would write home knowing the words might not reach anyone for months, if they ever arrived at all. Some wrote a little every single day, almost like a diary aimed at someone who could not read it yet. Others carried small handmade tokens meant for loved ones, a tiny carved trinket or a braided piece of rope, something physical to prove they were still out there, still thinking of the people waiting back on land. Writing to someone who could not answer back became its own strange form of company, giving the long, silent hours a shape they would not have had otherwise. Take away the ropes, the songs, and the strange rituals, and what remains is something painfully simple. A crew of ordinary men, trapped together for months on a wooden platform surrounded by nothing, trying to outlast their own minds before the ocean ever got the chance to test their bodies. That was life at sea, month after month. The real danger was never just the water. It was everything the water left empty.